The rain had been falling steadily since noon, wrapping the quiet streets in a soft, silvery veil. I stood at the kitchen window, cradling a warm cup of tea in my hands, watching as droplets gathered on the glass and slipped down in lazy rivulets. There was a familiar peace in the sound of the rain, like a forgotten melody that stirred something deep within me. I hadn't expected anyone to visit today. It was the kind of afternoon that invited solitude, the kind where memories crept in unannounced. I was still in my comfortable clothes, hair loosely tied. The house filled with the scent of cinnamon and something sweet I'd baked earlier out of restlessness more than hunger. Then came the knock, soft, hesitant. I paused, unsure if I'd imagined it. But it came again, a little firmer this time. When I opened the door, there he was, Noah. His hoodie was soaked, hair dripping onto his forehead. His expression caught somewhere between surprise and apology. He looked like he hadn't planned to come but couldn't stop himself either. "I was in the neighborhood," he said, voice quiet but clear. "And the rain. I didn't expect it to come down this hard." I stepped aside wordlessly, letting him in. He peeled off his jacket, shaking the water from it near the door. His eyes met mine, lingering just a second longer than necessary. "You're drenched," I said, reaching for a towel. "Give me a second." He murmured his thanks and followed me into the living room, where the fireplace still held a warm, flickering glow. I handed him the towel and gestured toward the couch. "I wasn't sure if you'd be home," he said, drying his hair. "But something about today. I don't know. I just came." "I'm glad you did," I admitted before I could second-guess myself. It was the truth, however complicated it felt to say it out loud. He glanced at me with something unreadable in his eyes. Perhaps relief, perhaps hesitation. But he smiled, the kind of smile that settled into the corners of his mouth and made something inside me loosen. We sat across from each other, the silence between us not heavy, but thoughtful. I handed him the tea I had poured for myself and made another for me. As we sipped in quiet, the room filled with a fragile comfort that only certain people bring into your life. The ones who make even the silences feel full. "I missed this," he said after a while. "Being here. With you." I didn't respond right away. My fingers wrapped tighter around the warm cup, heart thudding a little louder than usual. Me too. There it was again, that energy between us. Unspoken, subtle, but undeniably present. We'd danced around it before, careful to keep our boundaries intact. But the rain, the warmth of the house, the closeness we couldn't ignore anymore. It all seemed to blur the lines we'd drawn for ourselves. Noah leaned back slightly, watching the fire flicker. "I think about you a lot," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "More than I probably should." The honesty in his words caught me off guard. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. "I think about you too," I admitted softly, surprised by how natural it felt to say it. He looked over at me, eyes searching mine. "I don't want to complicate your life. I needed to be near you today." My chest ached in the best and worst way. There was such vulnerability in him, in both of us, that it felt like we were standing on the edge of something bigger than either of us had prepared for. I stood slowly and walked over to the window, the same one I'd been staring through earlier. The rain had softened into a mist, the sky now a pale gray canvas. "I've spent a lot of time hiding from how I feel," I said, not looking back at him. Telling myself it wasn't right, that I should know better, be better. There was a pause. I could feel him behind me before I even heard his footsteps. "You don't have to hide with me," he said gently. I turned around, and he was closer now. Close enough that I could see the way his breath caught, the way his eyes softened when he looked at me. "I don't know where this is going," I said honestly. "But I know I don't want to keep pretending it isn't there." He nodded slowly. "Neither do I." The room felt heavier, but in a way that grounded me. His hand brushed mine, and when I didn't pull away, he let his fingers settle over mine, warm and steady. We stood like that, not rushing the moment, not needing to say anything more. There was no grand declaration, no impulsive decisions, just quiet understanding and a shared sense of something beautiful, fragile, and real taking root between us. Later, we moved to the couch again. I curled into one corner, and he settled beside me, careful but not distant. We watched the fire, listened to the soft patter of rain, and let the comfort of closeness wrap around us like a blanket. Eventually he spoke again. Whatever this is, I want to explore it with patience, with respect. No pressure. I smiled, touched by his sincerity. That sounds perfect. We talked for hours, about life, about the little things we never thought to share before. The rain eventually stopped, the world outside washed clean and glistening. When it was time for him to leave, he stood at the door for a moment longer than he needed to. Can I see you again soon? He asked. Yes, I said simply. I'd like that. He smiled, that same gentle smile, and stepped back into the night, the air now clear and calm. I watched him go, my heart fuller than it had been in a long time. As I closed the door and leaned against it, I realized something important. Sometimes life doesn't follow the rules we expect it to. Sometimes it brings someone into your world who changes it, quietly and completely. And that kind of connection, rare as it is, deserves to be cherished. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like the video, share it with others who appreciate meaningful storytelling, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional and romantic journeys. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your feelings in the comments below. Your support means the world to us.